Hey everyone, we're live. So how's it going, Joey? We got another typology interview going. And you've actually been on the show before, but I guess it didn't go as planned. So
I don't think I was ready as much as I thought
right.
I was. And I think after being in the class and really just kind of like meditating on my type and sleep processing it as much as I possibly could, peacocking, that it kind of like now I feel like I'm kind of ready just to kind of get back into it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, no, I feel great now, and I feel like it's just kind of
Yeah.
it's time.
So maybe we can talk about, I guess we always do this. We did it last time too, but like your background in typology before we get going.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
So my background in typology, um, it was in college. I was dating someone at the time, and he was really into typology. Like he was pretty much like obsessed with psychology and stuff, and it was something that he kind of used as a way of like um, saying how the relationship isn't compatible and stuff like that. So it was just one of those things where I was like, I wanted to study it in depth so I can actually figure out how to better communicate with a
Mm,
toxic relationship. but
right.
but like that's basically it. And then in college, like I was a huge fan of Dave Superpower's channel,
Hmm.
and I was really really big into his videos. And then once he kind of went MIA, I was like almost like a parasite looking for a host because I was that obsessed with.
What is
Uh,
that metaphor? Wow. Okay.
you know what? It was an NI
All right.
analogy, and I kind of just stuck to it. And I was just like, you know what?
Oh,
I'm
good.
keeping that one. It's in my OI box. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
But when I described my whole typology experience, it was something like, I was like obsessed. Like I wanted to understand typology systems, as much as I possibly could. So I went
Hmm.
over to like another typology system, obsessed with them. And it was almost like it was great. Like they were really, really good. I met them in person. It was like the personality hacker system. So I met Joel and
Okay.
Antonio. Yeah, I met
Yeah.
them in person, and I met them. I went to their house and hung out with them, and that was really fun
Oh,
too.
wow. Awesome.
Yeah, and really got to understanding typology. But once Dave's video, like his video, started coming up on YouTube, I was just kind of like, I have to go back to this. I'm sorry. It was almost like
Hmm.
going back into a relationship with somebody that I was in love with. Not saying I was in love with Dave, but I loved I loved his
You're
content.
killing it on the metaphors, man. Just one home run after the other.
I know.
Yeah.
But no, I love Dave's content, and when I saw he was back, I was just so excited. I wanted to just like rewatch his videos, and they were just it was a different flavor too, and I was
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, this is interesting, and so I told my other friend about it, and because she was also into typology, my friend Kimberly, she's an INTP, and
Oh
I
yeah,
I
she was also in Personality Hacker, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. She was one of
and
my first interviews.
yeah, no, she's great.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, she's such an amazing person, and she and I were on the objective personality train together, and
Mm.
it was such an amazing journey, and just learning the system itself and seeing her and I in contrast and how we understood the system was also really fun too. But no,
Yeah, you
Kimberly,
guys have completely opposite functions too. That's
yeah,
an interesting friendship. Yeah.
no, yeah, she's an interesting one too. She's a glass lizard, she's
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she's the same
Same
function
animals as me.
maker,
Yeah.
animal makeup as you, but just NE instead of SE. But
Yeah,
no, she's
that's right.
but her FE is so good, just like yours, dude. Like your FE is fucking
My
fantastic.
FE is horrible.
No, it's not. Before the interview, okay, so everyone knows. Before the interview, I was telling Benjamin how nervous I was, and he told me, he was like, "It's okay, dude. Like, you're fine." And I immediately felt so much better. Like after that, I was just like,
Well,
"Okay, I trust him. I trust you. So like, I trust you to, carry everything, emotionally." And
all right.
I'm just
I
some
hope it's not misplaced.
no, no.
Right. Okay. So you've had an interesting journey with sort of accepting your type as well, because like it's like a pattern with ESFPs that have a similar type, that is like
Yeah,
they're always trying to stir it up and say, no, I don't want this pattern. This is
yeah.
not the, is that what's going on? What was that?
It's honestly lead SE. Lead SE is such a it's a frustration because all lead SE wants to do is just break the patterns. It just wants to just like, say, no, that's not true. No, I'm breaking that pattern. like I'm different, everything's different. But the beauty of SE that people, especially ESFPs, that, you know, because we're frustrated with ourselves and we want the organization, we want, like, you know, the NI. But the beauty of it is that, you know, it's like sometimes NI patterns are wrong. And it's like it Shannon even went over this with me too, where we approach it in a scientific way where we see the differences, we see the spectrum, and it's kind of like, you know, like nullifying theories just makes it more exciting, you know, to be like, no, it's different, it's different. And I noticed
Yeah.
the addiction so much now after my call. I had a call with Shannon recently, and it was just, I see the addiction. I see like the wanting to just kind of like completely like ignore the NI pattern, but it's just kind of one of those things where I'm just like, no, I can't ignore it. I have to, you know, I have to accept it, and that's hard. It really is hard to kind of like allow that control to happen, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So like this isn't something that all ESFPs go through, but there's a few of you guys that do the same thing where it's like it's you don't accept your type
Mhm.
and you accept it and then don't accept it, like back and forth sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very, very like swingy.
Right.
It's very much like a bipolar kind of
Yeah.
state of feel or whatever.
But
Where
it's settled for you like for the last 2 years or something? Or year?
I wouldn't say it's settled, but it's something where it's just kind of like if I want to grow, and so growth is something that I want to happen in my life, and it's something that I take very seriously, where I really want to kind of, and I want to understand typing too. So it's like, how can I understand typing if I'm trying to disprove typing? So it's there's like a double-edged sword to it. But
Right.
I wouldn't say like it's fully accepted just because like SE is so addicted at trying to break everything, but it is to an extent. It's kind of it's being nurtured in a way. Like my NI is actually nurturing my SE in a way to kind of
Right.
like coax it to accepting the patterns and stuff. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
And so like you went all in on the community,
Hmm.
like a
Oh
huge
yeah.
community member, posting like several times a day,
Yeah.
starting a meme group, all this kind of stuff. And then you just sort of cold turkey, you're like, I'm gone, guys.
Yes. Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
It was yes, I was part of the community for a very long time. I was in and out. It was kind of one of those things where, you know, I really wanted to push the community forward. I wanted everybody to really kind of get into nice deep introspective conversations where we can all, you know, have amazing discussion. But at the same time, I was kind of neglecting myself in that I was like, yeah, but I still don't agree with certain things.
Hmm.
So, and I was also getting so many different perspectives, and that was kind of clouding my like my judgment in terms of like what's right and what's wrong. And then it just came to a point where I was just kind of like, I was on Discord, and the Discord server was like an addiction to me because it was constant, like, you know, new sensory all the time. And so I was getting to the point where I was getting sick, like physically ill, because I was so addicted. It was almost like smoking a whole pack of cigarettes to kind of like get yourself sick so you don't smoke anymore. It was kind of like that, where I was getting myself sick because of how much I was putting myself into like the groups and into the Discord server. And so I was just kind of like, you know what? I need to pull away. I need to detox. I need to take at least a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, to just kind of let everything settle so I can, you know, come back to a little bit
Yeah.
more of like a more like stable kind of mentality.
G- Yeah.
So yeah,
Find yourself again, sort of thing.
yeah. But the meme
Yeah.
group, so this is how it actually happened. The meme group is what almost kind of solidified it for me, where I was like, when because the meme group was like my baby. Like I loved that group. I wanted that group to be like a like that cool like cafe hangout place where everyone can just kind of like decompress and just joke around and laugh and just have some sort of like, let's get away from the seriousness of type and let's kind of just like have some sort of, you know, just fun in a way.
Hmm.
And I took that so seriously, and when I
That's
decided
ironic. Yeah.
I
I took the meme group seriously. I took the
took the meme
place to
group
have
so
fun seriously.
my logic is yeah.
Yeah.
But when I decided, I actually took a few days before I actually made this decision. It wasn't just kind of like a spur of the moment, like OE decision. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like very, very like sleep processed where I was like, all right, once I let this go, I have to go. You know, I wanted it to feel like a death in a way in the community, in the group, because I wanted there to be a complete separation. And I saw people were saying things like, you know, oh, I'll see you in like 3 months and stuff. And I was just like, no, I'm leaving. I'm leaving for good.
Yeah.
And I don't have any intentions of coming back, but I do still talk to people. I still have conversations with people, and I still welcome conversations too. But I needed to get like the language, the terms, everything out of my head, just so I can kind of come back to, you know, myself in a way. So it was almost like a hero's journey, you know?
Yeah.
So the media group is just what made me completely, and I put it on my calendar too. I was like, you know, December 31st, you know, you're leaving, kind of like as a New Year's resolution almost.
Do you regret
Yeah.
it? Are you happy with your decision?
No, I don't regret it. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily have any regrets. I do miss everybody. You know,
Right.
I think of everyone often, and I still watch YouTube, like the YouTube videos, like your channel and Kendrick, and like, you know, I dip in every once in a while. I'll rewatch. I'm still in the class, but I'm not like, I mean, no, that's a lie. I'm still obsessing about it as much as I used to. But it's a different type of, NF vibe for me, where it's
Mhm.
almost kind of like a, like the dependency model or whatever. It's like, you know, I was very dependent. I was very dependent on it. I became independent, and now I'm kind of like interdependent, where it's like a tool where I can just pick it up and place it back down whenever I want it. So
Yeah.
it's not like something that's kind of like gripping me into into staying. So I don't really necessarily have any regrets. It's just I just
Yeah.
miss everybody. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had kind of a long run too. I know I trigger you like crazy too sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Mm.
yeah, but the thing is that everyone's on a growth journey, and you've grown
Yeah.
so much. You know, I've seen how you like started. I was actually watching some of your old videos, and you know, just seeing you now and seeing you in your element, it's just like you're like a natural Tom Billy, dude. Like you're killing it.
All right.
You know, you're
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate
compliments. You know.
it. Yeah, well, you know what deciders are like. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so like, do you wanted to talk about, I don't know, your growth journey, things like this?
Yeah, honestly, it's honestly fine. You can kind of, I know I said like I don't want to talk about certain things before, but if you want
Yeah.
to spitball it, I can kind of answer it as best I can. I can kind of work on my blast, but
Right.
you know, we can talk about whatever. It's free game. You know, let's just be
Yeah.
chaotic.
Okay.
Play energy.
Let's just use our saviors. Um,
Yeah, why not?
well, so okay, so you mentioned like before that your SE, you really dived into what SE sort of is. Do you have any
Mhm.
insights for us on what SE is then?
Yeah, it's honestly, if I were to put it into like an I concept, it's just breaking patterns. It's just trying to see things as different, see things as new, and just not kind of like not let the patterns control you. So it was like the best example I can think of in the Sun story is me having a hard time accepting my type, because like
Hmm.
Dave and Shannon saw my patterns. I wasn't necessarily seeing them the way that they were seeing them. And them telling me that this is how you're coming off and how you're approaching the world, I was in a lot of disagreement with certain parts, and I was just kind of like, um, you know, I wanted to reject the patterns. So it's like me breaking the patterns, and I would argue, you know, with Shannon about it, you know, but not like argue, but just like have
Yeah,
like
yeah.
disagree, and and there was a point where I was just like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, that's my type, and then I was just kind of like, fuck you, I don't agree. But not necessarily towards Shannon, but like just towards like the theory itself, like the thing, you know, the observer thing.
Yeah. So you've got a bunch of highs and I loves yous and all this kind of stuff in the comments
Oh
from
really?
various people. Yeah. But we
I
have a
can't even.
question here. How do you see SE different from any? I guess that's kind of hard because
Oh
like you don't really know and you don't have a closeness to any like you do to SE.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So any, okay, so actually I did I did actually talk to somebody this morning, um, who I was talking with him, and I happened to watch one of his typing videos, and I was working the checklist, and I typed him as having Savior NE and Savior FE. And it's just the way that he was communicating was just very much like he was just so calm with how he saw the patterns. It was just very he was like, "Oh yeah, right now you're talking in your ST and you're, this and that." And I'm just like, "Wait, what?" And I had to reflect on it and just kind of look at, "Wait, was I talking in ST? Was that actually ST?" But he was seeing it so naturally and just like so nonchalantly, was just pretty much gathering in the patterns and just being like, "Oh yeah, like that's your, that's this function, that's that
Yeah.
function," and explaining the patterns too in a way that was kind of not like how David Cannon explained it. It was very like
So I mean,
broad.
SE, like I identify with SE also gathering patterns, but it's more like we're not just gathering them as they are. We have to sort of create them within our own selves in some way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we had a conversation a while back where you were talking a little bit about tarot, where it's just like, hey, tarot's got these patterns in them, and I'm just going to use it to sort of, oh, there you go. Yeah. So you're using tarot basically to stimulate patterns in some way?
Yeah, so it's actually really interesting. There was this one, I'm probably not gonna be able to find them, but like there was this one, oh, actually here it is. So I have some sensory right here for you guys. Look at this. So I pulled 3 cards and I pulled the first card. The first card was 4 of cups. So you see how there's like 3 cups down here and there's 1 cup up here. So that kind of indicates that there's 4 choices. The one choice that you want is right there and you're ignoring it. So that's pretty much like what the interpretation of this is. And then I pulled the death card, which usually indicates like, rebirth, change, things of that nature, right? And then after that, I pulled the page of cups. And the page of cups is like, so I connected, okay, rebirth, change, and then you have the 3 cups with the 1 cup, and then you have the page of cups kind of like, it's almost like an IJ box almost, and it's like looking at this one thing, like almost like the cup is like the identity because it's like water, it's fluid, whatever. And so I'm just like looking at the interpretations and kind of looking at the sensory in order to find that one narrowed in pattern interpretation in order to kind of like be like, all right, so what does that mean in my life? Like what is going on in my life right now that I need to focus on? And so it's just kind of like, okay, that might have to do with work, it might have to do with op, it might have to do with my family. So I'm kind of trying to narrow it down and take all that sensory things like family, work, op, and just put it into this box and interpret it through many different lenses for the sensory.
So like it doesn't really matter what cards you pull, it'll still be useful to you because it'll help you just rework the pattern in some way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't make sense, and I'm just kind of like, wait, what the hell does this mean? Like I don't get it, and I have to like really mull it over. I can't just kind of like extract some sort of pattern from it. But this was something that I pulled like 2 days ago, and I've been thinking about it for like a while. So I feel like what NE is doing is it's looking at it, it's like, oh, it could be this, it could be that, it could be that, it could be that. But NI, what it's doing is it's kind of introspecting on the pattern. It's like, what is my inner identity saying about it, kind of thing. So that's kind of how I like. I feel like that's the difference between NE and NI. They're doing the same thing. I feel like NE is almost kind of like to use op terms like skipping like with the patterns, and NI is kind of like building obviously like the pattern. So it's just
Right.
like it takes time. I feel like time, like NI is very much about time when it comes to patterns, and NE is kind of like possibilities.
So this sort of practice here, you think it's like exercising your NI, like that's why you're doing it so much because it's like a way to exercise it?
Yeah, I feel like it's like it's a tool that I've locked onto for exercising my NI that I'm just kind of like I'm committing to it as much as I can. It's hard because I could have went to like many. I could have done astrology. I could have done Enneagram or whatever. I don't know, like some sort of other tool. But like I feel like tarot, it just like there's so many different, so much like different there's so much different sensory going on that it's just better for me. What does it say? That's so any resist locking onto a pattern when there are many possible. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I wants to like find the interpretation, and he wants to look at all the different interpretations across the spectrum.
Right. Yeah. So just a little bit of context. Rob's a little bit late. So we're talking about. He just wanted to know what we're talking about. So we're talking about tarot cards. How like basically any new 3 cards you're pulling is like simulating new SE, and then using that SE is to lock onto a pattern, how it fits into your life, sort of simulating a growth muscle of NI. and like that's kind of something you've locked onto
Right.
to help you exercise your NI. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
So okay, so I mean, so with that, once you do lock onto a pattern, do you still feel that pull? Hey, let's break this pattern. Like, I don't want this. I don't want to build this. Or, it's not even. It's kind of like it's. I don't know. It's not even that personal to begin with because you don't really even buy into it anyways. It's just like this was an exercise.
Hmm. I think the patterns that I want to break have to do with my demon sleep. Like if it's patterns that I'm seeing that have to do with the tribe, it's actually because like I guess because my blast is not dead last, then
Right.
it's kind of like I want to, be in those patterns for other people, but patterns for myself because my sleep is my ultimate demon, supposedly. That's my SE saying supposedly, allegedly,
Right.
scientifically, we're not sure yet. But I feel like when it comes to self patterns, yes. But when it comes to like patterns that have to do with me, yes. Patterns that have to do with other people, no. Yeah. So it's
Like,
just
because like I would figure this would annoy you, right? That you can, hey, I'm gonna pull 3 cards and I'm gonna fit my whole life and my experience into some pattern now. It's like crap. That means I have a pattern. Like, isn't that frustrating? If I can fit my life into the pattern, that means I have a pattern and I need to now go and break it. Like, is that sort of
yeah, yeah. It's kind of like I want to ignore it and just pretend like it doesn't even exist.
yeah,
It's like an elephant in the room that I just want to pretend is not even there, and it's just kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's like because that means that I actually have to do work and I have to stop gathering in and I have to start because like I feel like this one had more to do with like my career, because it's like
hmm
I feel like the Four of Cups for me was more um, like it represents my past, so it's like the Four of Cups was more I'm not really happy in any sort of career that I do, so like I've done like multiple different jobs and I'm still not happy. I still feel like I'm not really giving myself to the world in the way that I want to because I'm on this growth journey. I want to grow and give. And I think that the death is more of like I have to almost like rise from the ashes like a phoenix kind of thing and
yeah.
almost be this new person. And it's kind of like it's telling me that I need to find that one thing that I want to do. Like I
Isn't
would
that also
love
kind of yeah? Isn't that also kind of like an SE thing where it's just like I'm not satisfied in any one job. I can't stick to anything for too long because I need to shake stuff up, sort of thing.
well, for me it's more of like I'm not satisfied with it because it's not challenging me in the way that I want to give back to the world. See, that's where it's like the jobs I
But
do,
like,
I can do jobs well, but
how do you
it's
know
yeah.
that's not your mind tricking itself, like finding some reason or some excuse to like to not want to stick in something, you know?
Hmm. Well, that's a good question. That's a good
Yeah,
question.
sorry,
Well,
I'm
no,
being
no,
too tough on you. Yeah,
no, you're not. Please,
yeah.
you're not tough on me. This is.
All right,
I
sorry.
have
Yeah,
to write it down. Oh, I want to write that down, and I want to get back to it. Because I have to think about that a little bit more. I can't actually give you a full answer. So
okay. I
tricking
mean,
mind into
it's being
yeah.
recorded on YouTube, so I can give
No,
you
no,
a
no. I
timestamp or
know. I
whatever.
mean, like
Yeah.
if we get back to it later in the interview, I can like kind of like
Oh,
let it happen in my
yeah.
brain.
Cool.
Trick my mind into not. No, because you see, the thing is that I know what my identity wants. My identity wants to make an impact on the world where I'm I'm impacting others, but at the same time, it's something that I want to do. Like I actually was having a conversation with my dad today, and he and I were talking about my career and what I'm doing right now. And in the middle of the pandemic, it's really hard to find, a job that's kind of um, like there's a lot. Like, the job options are very limited, so I have to kind of like take like the whatever the pickings are and just go with that.
Yeah.
And so the job, I don't want to say my job, but the job I have now is kind of not something that my parents are necessarily proud of me for, and it's like I kind of I like there's a lot of shame around my current job, and it's like you know, my mom even said he doesn't belong there. He needs to, like, you know, he needs to do, like, my mom's even saying these things. And it's more of like, I don't trust that I can do what I want to do, even though I know what I want to do. And it's just,
Because, like, I mean,
it's
the
like,
building yourself up, the building the character as well, it doesn't matter. Well, this is my biased perspective, but like, it doesn't matter what job you do, you can build yourself up in wherever you are, is what
yeah,
I'm,
that's,
yeah. So, like, I'm giving you pushback. Let's change the channel
no,
here.
yeah, yeah.
You're almost type twin, Habib. I think it's just your last two animals are switched.
Oh, mm.
So he wants to know, do you think
What
reinventing
does he
yourself
say?
is practical? Like the whole death and rebirth thing. Do you think that's a
Reinvent.
practical?
Um, it's not necessarily like rebuilding myself, like knocking everything down and rebuilding. It's more of like adding to, like, it's almost like taking, it's like a sculpture, right? Like you have like a big thing of clay, and you're pretty much like taking out the parts that aren't the sculpture, and you're trying to form it into whatever the sculpture is, like whatever you want it to be, kind of thing. So I think
Yeah.
that it's less like rebuilding, and it's, as much as it's like more, it's like eliminating, which is pretty much what my growth journey is. I have to eliminate so that I could, you know, so I can grow. So it's almost like, you know, just kind of like checking, okay, what about this job? What about that job? What about that job? And like kind of not going back. So I feel like the thing is that it's like I would be doing, so I feel like what SE is gonna, like what it wants to do is it wants to do a job, and it's going to forget what it was. How is this job similar to the job I just did? And the job that I just did that I quit because it made me unhappy, going to this job, like, it's going to also make me unhappy, but like, what's the
Yeah.
common pattern? What does it fit into? So it's kind of like being like keeping my finger on the pulse of that, of like being aware of what is it that's really kind of, you know, making me want to leave these jobs. And I think what's wanting make me want to leave these jobs is that there's no growth upward. It's almost like it's very constrained. Like, you know, numbers are important. Like the stupid SE is actually like the important thing. And it's like, yeah, I can hit the numbers. That's not a problem. But it's just kind of like over time, like how come, like, that's not fulfilling. That's not making me grow as a person. Like I want the NF. I want the, you know, like I want to make
Hmm.
it so that I could, you know, like kind of emotionally give back to the world, you know, and
Yeah.
and numbers don't make me want to give back to the world in any way,
Yeah.
kind of
There's
thing.
a lot. There's a lot there.
Oh yeah.
One of the things. Okay, so let's say the theory is correct, and you have feminine Ni and feminine Fi, and that's the sculpture you're trying to build. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, I'm building this sculpture. Like, this is your analogy, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's feminine, so like, does it ever actually stay? Like, anything you're actually building, is there any persistence?
Yeah, no, there is
Yeah.
it like, yeah, no, absolutely, because it's like my previous jobs, it's kind of like the confidence is what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build the confidence in myself to actually say to myself, you can do this. It's not impossible. You are more than capable, kind of thing, and really believing that. So it's like, so the first day of my new job that I just got, what is it, the 20th? Okay, so like a few weeks ago. Um, the first day, like they were, because they said, you know, it was a new location, new building. They were like, you know, we're looking for leaders to start within this facility. So I immediately asked for an application because I have experience in training people, because they want people to train. And, you know, I was a personal trainer. It's not necessarily I'm training fitness, but I'm training people where I'm guiding people like how I was in fitness, and kind of using my skills in terms of how to train people in fitness to train people in what I'm doing right now. So the first day
Right.
I asked for an application, I went, got the application, filled it out, handed it in, and like within like a week or a week and a half later, they were like, "We want you. We're just waiting for more people to apply so that we can have like a group of people we can teach." And so I already got a leadership position within my first couple weeks of working
Cool.
there. So it's like
Congrats, man.
building that confidence kind of thing. Yeah.
So I know like your middle functions for you are a little harder for you to see, I guess.
Yeah, I guess maybe because they're so like the firing like so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to say a little bit about that, about how it's hard to see your middle functions? Because like that's where you should be strong, right?
That's where I should be strong. That's where I should be seeing it like, with no problem, and kind of not seeing my, my pull functions. Like I feel like my pull functions I actually see. I'm wondering if that's like, because I'm putting in a lot of exercise with it. But yeah, my middle functions are just like, they're weird because like people are like, oh, there's your FI. I'm like, where? I'm like, where the fuck is my FI? Like, tell me, where's that? How's that FI? And I get so like, but like I don't obviously like that's going on in my head. But like I'm just kind of like I get so like almost frustrated because it's just my decider functions are just so like I don't know, they feel very like mysterious to me, and I'm just kind of like, wait, that's TE. I feel like I'm doing like the F, like God damn it, I just gave away like my but I feel so embarrassed about it though. I feel embarrassed about admitting that my decider functions are like my big deal. But I had a conversation with somebody who said, do you think maybe like you FI value FE? And I'm like, maybe. He's like, and you're not a slave to it? And I'm like, maybe I admire FE so much, like my FI admires FE so much that I want to do like the FE game, even if it's not like my functions. And so I was like really like sitting with that, and I was just like, he might be right. And but like at the same time, it's kind of like I feel like people online, I present myself differently than people in real life, but at the same time, I might not know that. Like I have friends who they say to me, they're like, because I was showing them, like I was explaining the difference between FE and FI and TE and TI, and they're like, you seem more like the FE one, not so much like the TE one. But I guess it's like depends on the people. Like I guess maybe my FI is movable, so it's like when I'm around certain people, I kind of match their energy. And
well, I mean, I'm getting the TE now, right? Because like during the whole interview, I'm getting that because you're really talking things out and puzzling things out in the moment. Like,
well, this is something I puzzle like 24/7, so it's just kind of like
one of
those things where it's like constantly like the puzzle in my brain, but I feel like I'm blasting it out to you with TE possibly. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, but it's a big insecurity, my decider functions. Like it's like probably like my biggest insecurity, more so than my observer functions. Like my observer functions I can give two shits about, but like my decider functions I'm very insecure about. And I think maybe it's just the biases of like, TE is like an asshole and FE is like nice. But then after watching like the Joe DeSena class, I'm just like, oh, FE is actually pretty much a dick too. So it's just like, and TE can actually be really, really like,
Yeah, TE is an awesome function. It's very useful. It's helping everybody around them. It's yeah.
True. Yeah. I don't know.
And it's actually getting stuff done. Yeah.
True. Yeah. I'm just trying to like, but I actually want to understand TI and FE a little bit more. So like for you, TI, that's going to be more like kind of delving into the objective personality system and kind of understanding like the logic of it more than what Dave and Shannon teach on the surface, I'm guessing, or how would you describe
it? So it feels like what Dave and Shan are teaching is like looking at it from an outside perspective, looking at the system from an outside perspective. Hey, we're figuring out the system. Here's the system. And they're seeing all the moving parts from an extroverted perspective. And TI is like, okay, yeah, but how does it work on an inside perspective? How does it work inside the bubble? What are the mechanics behind the system? Like, why is the system the way it is? Right? And so like I think that's more what TI is interested in, but I mean that's just my subjective way of looking at it as well.
That's your TI?
Yeah, that's my TI. Yeah, exactly.
That's your TI.
That's my TI about TI. In the
that's
system.
Your TI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like also when I'm also trying to type people as well. So like that's usually the hardest thing to see as well as those middle functions. Like every time that's when you're with a typing partner, when you're with a group, that's always where the point of contention is. It's like, what are those middle functions doing? Because people are just so balanced, you can't really tell.
Yeah. And they're firing so quickly. It's just kind of like, but I don't believe that you can combine, blue and like, I don't believe in the blue and yellow mixed green kind of thing. But I do think that like if they're firing so fast that like it's kind of like your feelings coming out and then your tribe functions coming out. Like your T's, like for me, it's like my T comes out and then my FI comes out at the same time. So it's like I'm coding my TE with my feelings, so it seems like FE. So I guess maybe I actually do believe the yellow and green
because also like I see your human need for connection, right? Like with the Facebook group and with the community and with you wanting to push people. Like I see that. Then I also see your human need for significance. It's like I want to contribute. I want people to like, and it's like, what's on the front end, right? Like that's the challenging part, because like you have both of those human needs, and like that's what I keep seeing. It's like, okay, they've got both human needs. Like it's not everyone's doing everything.
Yeah, and like honestly, internally, I'm feeling like very like it feels very, what's the word? It almost feels like there's like something gripping like my insides because of how much I don't want to talk about it, but at the same time I know I need to, because it's like I'm afraid that if I talk about my identity, like my DI, like the things that matter to me, like it's just I'm afraid of the tribe's judgment. I'm afraid the tribe is gonna be like, oh, this again, oh, this guy, like I'm just kind of I'm fearing what the tribe is gonna say about what it is that I'm going through on the inside. Whereas I feel like people who have savior identity are just kind of like, I don't give a shit. Like this is me kind of thing. You know what I mean? But God, the tribe function. So let's talk about that. The tribe function is so fucking real, where it's like, because mine's double activated and yours is double activated, but yours is at the bottom, mine's in the middle. But it's just it's like assaulting. Right? Wouldn't you say like it's assaulting to you, like worrying about the tribe in a way, because yours is double activated?
I mean, for me, my tribe function is, I've got a very tough relationship with it for sure. It's a lot of tribe fear as well. Yeah. Like I don't notice it anymore, but like the first step in coming out and doing these interviews sort of thing was scary. It wasn't an easy thing to do.
I can imagine. That's
but that's coming it from like a DI perspective, right? It's like, I know who I am. I got like the same thing. It's like, I know who I am. I have no problem with who I am. I just don't want to show that either, because the tribe will judge me. I'd rather just go and be in my corner and not even interact with them.
Right. But here you are, 3 years later, just kind of like rocking it though. Do you still, okay, let me ask you this. As a decider, do you still feel like that same nervousness that you felt when you first started? Like, are you still feeling like that kind of intensity? Or
I mean, I think so. I'm not using SI, but I think like a huge part of it is I've sort of been accepted, and I'm sort of have a process that I'm going through. And so like, as long as like I'm on rails, and so if I'm sticking to the rails, I don't have to fear the tribe, right? But it's like when I go off the rails, it's like, okay, what's the feedback going to be, right? But I mean, the fear of being judged doesn't go away, or that's what Dave and Chen are saying as well. It's like the deciders are constantly worried about being judged, and like that's real.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Huh. Now I have to take that and swing it around in terms of like, what's the intensity of me being judged? Because I feel intensity being judged, but if mine are like relatively balanced, I can't imagine what a decider must feel. Like that to me, it just sounds intense to the point where it's like, I feel like it's like makes me want to be physically ill. Do you feel like sometimes physically ill about the fear of the tribe judgment?
I mean, so like on the front end, maybe like, I don't know, getting up on stage and playing guitar, or like my first few interviews, maybe, yeah. But on the back end, it's way worse. Like when you've already screwed up and the tribe is already after you, that's when it's tough. Yeah.
Whew. I had to take a breath there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
I mean,
no, for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, like, how is the math reversed for DE above DI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like,
we don't have permission to be who we want to be because we're so busy trying to be the tribe's like martyr, I guess, or whatever kind of thing.
But like, you're looking for that permission to be you from the tribe, in a way.
Right.
So you're looking to do enough for everybody so that they can say, "Hey, Joey, you can be you now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it never feels like I could though. It always feels like it's like there's always something like saying you can't, or it's like there's something missing, where it just feels like them saying yes you can. My brain automatically just wants to negate it and be like, nope. It's
You're gonna even argue with it. It's like you finally get the permission, and you're just gonna argue with it. No, I don't have the permission yet. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Exactly. It's like you're not allowed. You can't. If you do, you're gonna get in so much. You're gonna be in so much more pain than if you just shut your mouth and just kind of went along with the tribe and just did the tribe thing, and just kind of like stayed there. And stayed within like the tribes, whatever the tribes standards and parameters are. Don't move from that. If you do, you're gonna get hurt, kind of thing. Yeah. That's what it feels like.
And so then taking that step to like separate from the tribe, in a way, is allowing yourself to do that FI in a way. Like is that kind of what the process was for you, leaving the community for a little bit?
Yeah. Because it always felt like I was responsible to make Facebook posts, that I needed to, start discussion, reiterate things that we already knew. Like the doc that I sent a doc, and I can even put it, like you can even post it in the description if you wanted to.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Have access to it. But, I started making a doc, and it was more for me, not necessarily for anybody else. And here I am saying, yeah, if you want to share it with the tribe, that's totally fine. God damn it, fuck. But, excuse my language, I apologize.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I just get like whatever. But yeah, so what was I saying? So, I did that for me, and I wasn't intending. Like I made it, and then I was just like, who are the people in my identity that I want to send this to? Who do I want to give this to? I don't want to post it on the public page and get everybody like commenting, well, like, this, that, and the other thing. And, what if it's not like that? What if it's like this? I don't agree with that. Because then you're just kind of like, all right, like, this is coming from me. This is from me, and I'm sharing this with you, and you're not, receptive to it. And now I feel like I want to just delete the whole entire thing. Like there's so many posts that I made in the Facebook group that I just deleted because of like the negative responses to it. That I just didn't want to have that out there. But I always felt responsible in the Facebook groups and the meme groups and stuff to kind of just like keep the tribe, moving and keep them like, engaged and stuff. And there were times where I had like drama, like, that was like that was another thing too, where I was just like, I just don't want to have drama anymore. I just don't want to put myself in the mix, because people are on different parts of their journey. Some people like the more people you get, the more complicated it is in the groups. And that's why when I had the meme group, I was very like IJ about it. I didn't want to have 2,000, 3,000 people in my group. I wanted it to be very contained, and I was very like selective about who I let in and who I didn't. And that made it better. It made it better, and that was showing me how my demons are actually like, hey, this is actually a good thing. But yeah, so I was I forgot what the question was, but I think that answers it. So
I guess we were just talking. We were just shooting the breeze, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But like, I'm trying to see how I would be in that. Like, so first of all, the drama. Like, I don't know, you're one of those people where it's like, oh, yeah, drama just surrounds you. You have no. I think it's just because like you're less sensitive to it, so that you kind of just sort of swim in it a little bit better, and maybe don't even realize that it's there until it's too late.
Uh,
I don't know. I'm wondering why. Yeah.
No. That's a great question. That's a really great question. I'm just laughing at how I'm just reflecting on this one time where I was working in the gym and I was talking to my trainer, and I think that he was lead TI, very very honest. You know, he'll tell you how it is. He'll be honest with you if you ask him.
Sorry.
But that's okay. And I remember saying to him, like in passing, I fucking hate drama. I was like, drama is so annoying. I was like, I hate it. I can't stand me. He's like, Joey, can I tell you something? I'm like, what? He goes, you are drama. He's like, you create drama. He's like,
Yeah.
You don't hate drama. He's like, you hate drama because you're the one that keeps on making the drama. He goes, you are the drama. And I'm like, fuck. And like my parents call me that. My parents tell me I'm a drama queen. My friends have told me I'm a drama queen. And one of my friends actually, I said to him, I go, I want you to be honest. And he's probably like one of the most honest people I know. He said to me, I said to him, I was like, okay, I want to know what is it that you and other people say about me behind my back that like drives you guys nuts. And he just said straight up, he's like, you play the victim all the time. And he's like, and you can never admit when you're wrong. Yeah. And I was just like,
wow.
I was like, really? Yeah. And he told me that, and I was just, and when he said that to me, it kind of like hit me really hard. And I was like, I don't play the victim. I was like, do I really play the victim? He's like, yeah. He goes, you play the victim. And he's like, think about the times that you fucked me over. Like I fucked him over a lot, actually. He's like, think about the times you fucked me over and you said how it was my fault and it was never your fault. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he's like, but he goes, you know, eventually after like 2 years, which it took 2 years, you came around and you apologized and you admitted to it. And he goes, and now we have a good friendship. And I was just like, all right. I was like, I guess. And like, I'm shaking right now, just like even admitting that, because I was just like, he goes, your struggle is you don't know how to be honest with yourself. And you don't know how to take blame for things that you cause and how you hurt people without, you know, like admitting that it was you, and instead of blaming other people that and saying that they're the reason why you did the actions that you did, because you can't be honest with yourself. And I was just like, all right. And then I went to another friend's house, had some whiskey, and kind of just like decompressed that, because that I had to sleep process that for like a week. That was really that like even now I'm just thinking about it. I'm kind of like getting like, you know, it's very emotional about, you know, that kind of thing, because I'm just, you know, because I'm thinking about like, okay, how do I do that in other parts of my life? Like, how am I playing the victim? Like, maybe that's what I'm doing at work. Like, that's why I leave my jobs, and I'm just kind of like, maybe I'm playing the victim. Like, it's like, you know, all the managers and stuff like that. Like, they're not teaching me enough, or they're not doing enough. They're not educating or whatever. And it's just kind of like, you know, yeah, that's a reoccurring pattern in my life, is that I don't take responsibility or blame for things that I could easily solve myself if I just kind of said, how am I part of the problem? As like, how am I the problem, and how am I part of the problem, and how can I solve this problem, and just kind of like working on that. And you know, I just don't do it. I just create drama.
I mean, so like this is like a contradiction a little bit with OP, right? Because so they say DI is where the victim is, right? The DI saviors are the ones who are always the victim. They're framing themselves as the victim in every story, sort of thing, right? And then you also have like this whole Karen idea, where it's like the DE savior, masculine, where it's like they're bullying everybody, and then when then they just frame themselves as the victim once people start pushing back.
Yeah.
So it's like, So it's like, what is like, is there? It feels like there's a contradiction there, right? Like what they're saying, and it's like you're also DE above DI, and then you're talking about also framing yourself as the victim. So maybe it's something that's not really connected to type as much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it's like, I don't have the answer to that, but
Yeah,
you know, it's just, maybe it's my double activation, that if we were going to put it into like any sort of OP, NI kind of thing, it's like maybe it could be like my double activation that's making that happen. But I mean, because here's the thing, like when I got typed by Dave and Shannon, I got typed by them after going through really intense therapy, and I'm wondering like how much therapy can actually, really modify. I know. I hate.
Here
I
you
hate
are trying to
talking
break
about
the
it.
pattern again.
I'm trying to break the fucking pattern, because it's just
Yeah.
like, because I'm thinking about it too, and I was thinking about how bad I was though compared to, how bad I was before I found out about OP, and how bad I am, and how much I improved. Because there was a point in my life where I was about to disown my whole entire family. I was never going to talk to my mother again. She and I were pretty much like, it was our relationship was like irreparable, and it was like, and at this point it still kind of is, but it's like I've kind of come to peace with it. But there would be so much more explanation in because I remember Shannon saying in my video, she's like, you're not a tribe weirdo. Like you double decide. Because like I said in my video, I was like, what did I say? I was like, people seem to have really negative feedback towards Dave, but because he's an asshole. But I kind of like people who are assholes, and I was just like, but then like I showed my video to my friend. He's like, why did you say that you like assholes? He's like, you hate assholes. And I was like, I just wanted Dave's approval. I just feel like if I said that, Dave would like me more.
Interesting.
But and then that was how they said, like, not a weirdo with the tribe. And most of my video was talking about learning how to like type and stuff. So I guess that's how they saw it about things. But most of it was actually because my friend Kimberly had said she hadn't joined the class at the same time I did, but she was kind of like, oh, like tell me more about it, and then maybe I'll join. So I was kind of making my video because I wanted to. Here's my reasons. I was making my video because I wanted Kimberly to join the class with me, and I wanted to kind of like convince her to join it. And so I wasn't really talking about like, the really dark parts of my life as much as I could have. I was kind of like, because I was thinking about like the easy shit. Go ahead. I know I'm
just saying, if you guys want to mess with Joey, just get him to question his type again. It's really easy. Just like point out where he's not fitting the pattern, and just get him on that new tidal wave again. If you just want to really mess with him.
I know. I'm sorry. I hate myself. There you go. See, I hate myself.
No. Okay, no, here. All right. You just said something you hate yourself. Let's start right here. Okay, here, you got, hey Joey. You got Joey, love you. Look at this. Look at all this stuff.
Oh yay.
Yeah.
So much tribe love.
Yeah. We have here, Joey, I love this human. See? So like, so here, you hate yourself, but like the tribe is loving you. So what's that about?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Why do you guys love me? What are your reasons?
Right.
Let's see.
So, okay, let's get to a question. This is getting awkward.
Go ahead.
Here, you're getting more. Joey's awesome. Joey, we love you. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Sorry. With Sleep Last, is it really hard to study yourself with journals, logs, and tracking your own patterns? How have you gained? See, that's me. Like, that's my thinking shit, right? Because it's like, I'm getting awkward because there's feelings. I'm all like, oh, feelings. This is awkward. Let's change the channel. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
All right.
Feelings are great. Go ahead.
Are they?
Okay. So with Sleep Last, hard to study yourself with journals, logs, and tracking your own patterns. Let's see.
Study yourself. That's a weird term. Study yourself. Okay.
Like a self-study. Yeah, because I'm thinking about like the people of my same or similar type, how like ESFPs, they have like depersonalization, stuff like that. Like I don't really go through shit like that, which doesn't really, it's like an anecdote, but whatever. But like there's like a cluster of patterns of people who, when they're like, they have SE and Demon and I, it's kind of like they go through like a depersonalization where they just don't know who they are and stuff. But I feel like for me, I guess, yeah, I can't answer that question. That because I never actually journaled. I kind of just more or less repeatedly watched like Dave and Shannon's videos over and over and over again, and kind of was like kind of internalizing what they were saying so that I can kind of, you know, trust them, having calls with Shannon, talking to her about stuff, you know, just talk. It's
I
more
wonder
like
if
talking.
journaling would be helpful for you to analyze yourself.
No, because this is the thing, is like journaling, it doesn't flow as well. You know, it's like, and I can't talk into a recorder. I can't write into like in a journal. I just get, because I get very like when I'm writing, it just, my mind just goes blank. It's just kind of like, okay, what do I have to write? Like the thing that I've always had trouble with is when I apply to college applications, I had to write a letter about, you know, why should you be accepted into our college or get the scholarship or whatever. And like my mom and I would have legit arguments where she would just say, just write about you. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what the hell I'm going to write. And
so it sounds like you've got a pattern here about yourself. Like this is a self pattern. I'm bad at journaling, right? I wonder if you ever, I want to challenge you to maybe break that pattern.
It's just journaling doesn't work for me as well as talking to other people. No, maybe I do have to break that pattern. I should break that pattern. No,
I want to know. I want to know, Rob, why is it only plus 99 and not plus 100? And
yeah, seriously, Rob, where's the other point?
I
need that. I need the full validation.
And your friend Neurotic here says we love you no matter how much you hate yourself.
Oh, hey, I love him so much. He's such a great guy.
Yeah.
I think the +1 is more for, I have to give myself that +1. I think that's what Rob was getting.
Oh, there you go.
Plus 99 for Rob, but like +1, I have to add the.
That's a good tarot reading. There's a tarot card.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
Interpretations.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So we're getting over time, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming out and for being honest and candid and you know, sharing what it's like to be an ESFP of your type. Yeah. Have you met any of your type twins in the community? Do you have many?
Yeah, I have. There's Heather, Michelle, and I think that's it. I think it's just Heather, Michelle. But yeah, no, we've talked a couple of times. And the funniest thing is that they said, and I told this to Shannon, and like she kind of shut it down right away. Where I was like, yeah, they said that like between the three of us, like I was like the weirdest one, and Shannon was like, of course they're gonna say that. They see everything as different. And I was like, fuck. I was like, damn it, that's so true. Like they're seeing like the SE, they're not seeing the NI kind of thing. And I was just like, okay, because I was but yeah, she just shut it down. But yeah, I talked to them. Really, really great people. Love them. And I haven't spoken to them in a long time though. I have to catch up with them and see how they're doing. But
cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, no, I really appreciate you coming out and, you know, finally sharing your type with the community like that. And really awesome guy. So we'll put a link to your description. Is there anything else you want to promote? Any final message you want to give?
I would say the final message I want to give is just kind of like, you know, don't take it so seriously. Just be, you know, just give yourself the permission to question things, because Dave and Shannon could be wrong, but at the same time, like give them, like, you know, just trust them first and then kind of like find your way out of it yourself, kind of thing. You know, you're responsible to grow yourself, and you can't just rely on type alone to answer all your life's questions. Yeah, cool. So lots of, again, more you are awesome, more stuff like that. Yeah. What is all this weird feeling stuff? Anyways, have a good one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, YouTube. Bye, guys.